In this video, we'll be taking apart the OSCAL Tank 1. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and click on notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload a new video. Also, if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM and micro SD tray needs to be removed. Taking a look at that, we can see a red rubber gasket around the opening. Now heat needs to be applied to the screen using either a hairdryer or a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then a pry tool can be used to pry the screen off. Keep in mind you may need to use some isopropyl alcohol since the adhesive underneath the screen is extremely strong. Once the screen has been pried from the frame, it can be flipped over from the top to the bottom. A single Phillips screw needs to be removed, which is holding the metal cover over the screen connector. Here's a look at the back of the screen. There are 16 Phillips screws which are holding down the midplate. Once the screws have been removed, the flex cable for the proximity sensor needs to be peeled off from the midplate. Here's a look at the aluminum alloy midplate. There's a portion of graphite film to help transfer heat. We can see some cushion padding on the other side. The battery cables can now be disconnected before we proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. The coaxial cables on the bottom left side of the board can be disconnected by just popping them off. There are two Phillips screws which are holding the main board to the plastic assembly. Looking at the main board, we see the 50 megapixel front-facing camera, the proximity and ambient light sensor, as well as some copper film over the shields to help transfer heat. Once the copper film has been peeled back, we see a thermal pad which is seated over the MediaTek Dimensity 7050 processor. Here's a better look with the thermal pad removed. Looking at the other side, the infrared or IR blaster is located on the top corner, and the cables for the front-facing camera as well as proximity sensor can be disconnected by just popping them off. The SIM and memory card reader is screwed on with 3 Phillips screws to the plastic assembly which is behind the motherboard. This plastic assembly also has antenna lines drawn on it, which are the light gray color lines. There's a 64 megapixel primary camera, as well as a 20 megapixel night vision lens. The LED flash is located below the main camera, and these are the night vision lights or emitters. There are 3 Phillips screws which are holding down the subboard. This lock or latch on the connector can be lifted up in order to release the flex cable for the primary microphone. The charger port is soldered to the subboard and has a black rubber gasket around it. Here's a look at the other side. 9 additional Phillips screws need to be removed. Looking at the battery assembly, we can see that there are multiple batteries which are soldered together to operate as one. The voltage on these batteries are different compared to standard smartphones, so don't be fooled by the capacity that's written on this label, since with the voltage on these batteries, it does add up to the 20,000 mAh as advertised. Here's a look at the bottom speaker assembly, and there are also antenna lines drawn on the speaker assembly, which are the light gray color lines. There's also a rubber gasket around the speaker opening. This flex cable makes a connection with the pins on the back of the phone, and this is the vibrator motor, which is held down with some adhesive. Once the battery assembly has been removed, we can see the NFC antenna. There's a single Phillips screw holding the 170 lumen dual beam LED light or flashlight assembly to the housing. This sort of reminds me of Johnny Number 5 from the movie Short Circuit. Moving on, there's an additional antenna flex cable on the top corner of the housing, and the primary microphone, as well as the top earpiece speaker, and the flex cables which lead to the buttons on the side of the phone, are held in place with cure-in-place gaskets, so if you needed to replace either of those, you would need to use an X-Acto knife or a razor blade to carefully cut out those gaskets to be able to remove the flex cables. Also, when it comes to removing the flex cables for the buttons, you would also need to remove the T5 or Torx 5 screws on either side of the phone, which are holding down the metal plates or covers. As for replacing the rear screen, at this point you'd be able to heat it up and pry it off. For the repairability score on this phone, I give it a 4 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the screen. Power on the phone, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.